Okay, well, I'm John Mosiman, and I'm here with my wife in our house, my great wife of how many years? 56.
And a half.
And we have some friends with us who have been working with us in Acuna, Mexico, and they're going to tell you some things that they've been doing and that we are doing. So you'll be hearing from all of us at one time or another. Tune in. We're sitting over at our house today with my good friends and colleagues to tell you what's going on with us and with our brothers and friends in Mexico. Today is the 10th of July, just about noontime now, and I'll give you a little medical update. You probably are pretty much aware I have terminal cancer. We don't know how long I'll have to stay here on Earth, but it's coming, and it's like it is for all of us. And so we're just facing reality and trusting God to take us through all that. Been facing that for about a year and a half or 2 years now, and I'm definitely weaker and closer to that glorious moment. So, just a little review of what has happened up to now. We started in 1998. Sounds like a pure mistake, pure chance, pure accident that I ever got involved in Mexico. That was not in my plans. I had no idea of doing anything like this. So when the word came that there was a big flood in Del Rio, Texas, I went down to work there a couple of months. Gloria went with me. We rehabbed some houses. And as that came to a close, the Mexican pastor there asked me if I would like to cross the river with him, deliver some blankets and some food and clothes to the Mexican families who had been affected by the flood. I was really not enthusiastic about that, but I just did it anyway. And that's where we got our, I was going to say feet wet, but that would be too much of a pun, crossing the river, getting into Mexico. And that was at the end of 1998. You're probably wondering if the camera is wide enough who these two dudes are right here. This is Kurt Moranis, my very good, trusted, longtime friend. Long time, 10 years. Is that a long time?
A long time for me.
And we love each other deeply and trust each other deeply. It's just been a beautiful combination. And over on this side is my son-in-law. We're not only linked legally, but emotionally, we're very good friends, and we really like each other a lot and do things together. He's going to be, already is involved in it, and Kurt is coming into a transition. So back to the story. We started by building houses. First of all, even lesser than that, there would be a shack with covered with cardboard and no windows, no light. Maybe a 60-watt bulb up there somewhere. And we would just cut a hole in the wall and put a window in and make sure the door had a latch on it. From that, we graduated into building a frame house. I had had experience in Tijuana, Mexico, doing the same thing in a couple of years previous to that. I had no idea why. Now I knew why. As we went over and crossed the river from Del Rio, population 30,000, into Acuna, Mexico, which is near 250,000, we saw all this poverty, the mud, the rain, the cold, the suffering, the houses without roofs and all of that. And I was literally moved to tears, couldn't hold it back, and realized that having been to Tijuana, I probably was capable of building a house or two. I thought maybe 3 if we're doing well. The pastor that took me over there had big aspirations. He thought we might do 7. Should we tell him that now we've done over 150?
That's more than 7.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, a multiple. So we did that for some years. At that point, in about 2002, 4 years into it, this guy comes along with a group from Illinois and sees things he never saw before and felt things that he never felt before and had thoughts that he never thought before. He was moved. He'll probably mention that later on. So we've been building houses now since 1998 and still doing it, but at a very reduced level because of the situation across the river right now. But the good news is that along with the building aspect, we've gotten involved in helping young Mexicans get an education. You have to realize that over there, the average Mexican young person, particularly Christian young people, do not have much of a chance of getting into high school. So that puts them, if they're lucky, in a factory job, which amounts to, is it $100 a week now? Mm-hmm. $100 a week, and you might think, oh, that's plenty in Mexico. No, it's not really plenty in Mexico. The cost of living is about the same as it is here. So to work in a factory, they just barely get by. And that's what they're saddled with for the rest of their life if they have no education. So bit by bit, we became involved with young people, first helping a pastor's daughter take some computer courses and prepare her for that kind of work. And then it just grew, add a person here, add a person there, a very careful selection process of who we let into the program. It grew and grew. So now it's reached a level and plateaued at about 30 or 30 plus people each semester. There are about 14 or so in high school and about 14 or so at the university. And you might wonder, well, if it's a public school, why do they have to pay? Well, there are always the incidentals and the books, and you have to get out of your rags. You have to pay fees to pay for a custodian to do the garden work there. So there are expenses, and it comes out to an average of about $150 US for a semester. But that doesn't seem like a whole lot for you and me. But for them, it's a week and a half's wage that they would lose if they would be able to put their kid in school at all. So we're very, very much in favor of doing this. We've been doing it for 10 years. We're wholeheartedly into it, not as an alternate, but as an extension, an expansion that we believe is truly as important as having a roof over your head. Because why have a roof over your head if you're going to spend the day all your life digging ditches and picking up papers in the park? So that's what we've been doing. We've moved into another phase now with John has agreed and is fully qualified to replace me on the Austin, Texas end of this thing. That would mean receiving a message from the pastor's wife in Acuna of how many students there are and what that cost would be, how much money we need to raise. Once John knows that time and that amount, then he contacts you so that if God so moves in your heart that you would have a part in this, doing it cheerfully and graciously and even looking at it as a fun thing to do. So John is at this end of it here. He has an MBA in business, which they tell me is somewhat related to money, and accounting, record keeping, and public relations. He has a very responsible job in a large corporation here with a lot of people under him, and he's got a lot of experience in there. He's the perfect fit. He's been to Acuna, he's worked there, he's built the houses, he's seen the poverty, he's met the people, and his heart is in it. Just one little thing lacks, Espanol.
Poquito.
The Spanish is moving along, but he's beyond that line that says, where's the bathroom?
Well, let me interject one thing. Nobody is fully qualified to replace you. We will do what we can.
Well,
and I think we'll be okay.
We will be okay. As long as God is in it, we will be okay.
We'll be okay.
As long as He is not in it, we don't want to be in it either. So we are A-OK. But along with all of that is another guy, Kurt. And I'd like you to meet Kurt. He's already been involved in Acuna for 10 years. We've been friends for 10 years. It's one of those almost unmatchable instant friendships that goes deep. So this has happened, and it's here, and it's been going on. And he has a little story to tell himself about the students and about his time in Acuna. So are you in voice?
I'm in voice.
Okay, shoot.
Just a little bit about his work might be important. I came down to Acuna 10 years ago with a church group, and I was so moved by what I saw, and of course meeting John, that I committed my life to doing mission work. In the process of the last year and a half, I retired and sold both of my businesses, and have decided to become a school teacher, and currently getting my master's in education. In the meantime, in the process, I've been continuing his work and continuing to serve the people of Acuna. His work, in our opinion, not only refers to his work, but also to his work, to John Mosiman and the work that he's done. So in our hearts, we know that we're committed to serving the Lord, but deep down, we really know that we're continuing work that John Mosiman started many years ago when he first made that trip in 1998 over into Acuna. So we too are very, very excited about the commitment that we've made to not only to John Mosiman and continuing his legacy, but to the people of Acuna and to serving the Lord in this way. His work is a 501c3 corporation. It was started back in 1972 by a gentleman named Al Holstein, and we've continued his dedication and his commitment, and will continue for the rest of our lives serving the ministry and serving the Lord by building houses for people.
If I could imagine the ideal, the optimum people to carry this on with the students and possibly also with building, I couldn't think of a better fit than these two guys. And along with them is Jorge. I really believe that God is running this, and that whatever he does is good. And he has brought us all together in this, and I had no qualms whatsoever, no doubt whatsoever, but that these men, under the guidance and strength of the Holy Spirit, are going to do and are already for 10 years doing excellent work. So as I leave the world, I didn't really think it was necessary, if God wanted to just bring this thing in Acuna to an end. Didn't think it was necessary to go on. But I always said to him, if you want to keep it going, you got to keep it going. You got to provide. And that's exactly what he's done. I am really at peace, totally, with this. I am excited. So, there is a change. In a way it's large, in a way it's small. But we've been funneling our funds through our church. We've not been attending that church for 5 years. And we're going to be transitioning to just write the check to his work rather than to the Baptist church. It's more direct, it's more streamlined, it works better for us, and these guys are fully equipped and fully receptive to the idea of you just make out the check to his work and then send it to me at my house on my street, and you'll be acknowledged for what you did very shortly after we receive it, and it will go to his work. When the checks have come together and we have a bunch of them, then they'll go from Austin after you see it and process it and record it. He'll take care of that and get it up to his work. So that's a small change that you do need to note, or we'll hit some snags. In Spanish you say gracias, In English, you say thank you, because without your participation, they'd still be digging ditches and picking up papers in the park. And now we have people who are scientists, business managers, executives, mechanics, experts in air conditioning, heating, you name it, that very technical courses that make a great career for somebody. These are Christian students who are trying to influence people in their church and set themselves up as a model to show them what could be done. So the whole thing is just working out beautifully. I'm just so very happy. How about you?
Very happy, very excited as well.
What's your emotional level today?
I'm way up there, buddy.
Okay. Okay, thank you guys.